Today is the last day you can register to vote online or by mail ahead of the next round of elections. We'll tell you what you need to know in order to register and meet that deadline.
Plus, we are hearing the vice president's message to Governor Evers after a historic visit to the state capitol building.
And there have been more than 15 million flu cases so far this season, and Wisconsin ranks in the states with the highest infection rate. What you need to know to keep your family healthy.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, January 29th. I'm Josh Sprider.
And I'm Leah Linscheid, along with meteorologist Hattie McLean. Waking up to some more clouds, but that's not the case for the rest of the week.
That's right. I have made some changes to the forecast, just not for today. Still looking at cloudy skies in the area. Here's the look from the WISC-TV sky camera shot. Definitely cloudy this morning, a little bit cooler. Temperatures are around 23 here. Notice the Dells, though. You're down to 18 degrees this morning. Luckily, though, no scraping involved today. We have a pretty quiet forecast coming up. No ice on your windshield this morning. Here's a look at your temperatures. We'll climb to highs in the upper 20s, but staying below the freezing point today. Now, here's a look at your traffic maps early this morning across the Madison area. No major delays just yet, although we are seeing some brake lights show up on the Beltline at Stoughton Road. That's typical for this time of the morning. A few brake lights showing up on East Washington as well, but no accidents report in and around Dane County. Coming up at about 6:11, we will talk about some 40s in the forecast, believe it or not.
Ooh, love it. Thank you very much, Hattie.
6:01 right now. There's a very important deadline for you to make ahead of the spring primary.
Our Christina Laurie is breaking down what you need to make sure you're registered to vote come February. Hi, Christina.
Hi. Wisconsin is only one of 21 states actually in the whole country where you can register or re-register to vote at the polls on election day itself. If you want to avoid any potential lines, though, today is the last day to register to vote online or by mail ahead of this spring statewide primary. All Wisconsin voters are encouraged to check their registration status over on myvotewi.gov. We have a link to that on the homepage of our website right now. If you've moved, even if it's just down the hall to a new unit in the same apartment building, you will need to update your voter registration. In order to register, you'll need a proof of address. You can provide that in physical or electronic form, as long as your name and the address on the document match the name and address on your voter registration form itself. Some examples include a utility bill from the last 90 days, a bank statement, a current and valid Wisconsin ID or license, a paycheck, or a copy of your lease. You can find a full list of acceptable documents on our website, channel3000.com. And a reminder, Wisconsin's statewide primary election, February 18th, that is different from the presidential primary. I'll talk more about that ahead at 6:30. It's a good distinction for people at home to know.
And a lot of this can get kind of convoluted, you know what I mean? So it's nice that this is all laid out for you online. You can figure out what you need to bring.
And the primary schedule itself is pretty confusing because all states have different days, different times, what's coming up. All on our website.
All right, Christina Laurie, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Now, ahead of election season, Wisconsin's making a list of most politically engaged states. The website Smart Asset took a look at voter turnout across the country and listed us as the third most politically active. We're the highest ranked state in the Midwest with consistently high voter turnout. We even had the second highest turnout back in 2016 at just under 69%. Maine and Montana came in at first and second on that list.
We knew Wisconsin would be an important battleground state this year, but historic trips to the Dairyland are confirming that. Just weeks after two trips by President Trump and Vice President Mike Pence, Pence returned to Madison yesterday. He is the first sitting vice president to set foot inside the Capitol building in its 103-year history. He used the opportunity to tout the state's school choice program that gives state financial assistance to students who want to attend private school. Opponents like Ben Wickler have been vocal about how he feels school choice are hurting public schools.
Trump and his cronies are sabotaging public education because it's not their children who go to public school. At every step, they think this is what's going to happen to someone else. They're handing massive tax cuts to the richest people in America while cutting funding for teachers, for training, for our school systems.
Dozens of protesters gathered outside the Capitol for that visit, pointing to concerns about Pence's stance on health care for all, LGBTQ rights, climate change, and the right to abortion.
6:04 right now. Senators are set to begin the two-day question and answer period on the impeachment trial today before taking any vote on additional witnesses. Senators will use cards to write their questions for House managers or the defense, sign their names, and submit them to Chief Justice John Roberts. President Trump's defense team has finished its opening arguments, but the trial might not be headed for the quick acquittal the White House is hoping for. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is admitting this morning he doesn't have the votes to block more witnesses yet.
We have some breaking news following overnight. Madison police have a woman in custody this morning accused of a number of robberies, the latest at a Quick Trip in town. It happened around 1 this morning at the Quick Trip along Stoughton Road, across from the MATC there. Police say 55-year-old Yolanda Bell asked for cigarettes, then refused to pay and threatened to shoot the clerk. Bell then led officers on a police chase, ending only after she crashed her car and tried to run away. A police report says she was wearing the same coat she'd worn in previous armed robberies. She's facing multiple charges this morning.
Dane County detectives are continuing to ask for your help in the murder investigation of Nicholas Day. They're trying to identify a runner who was seen in the area around this time of the death. They say the runner was wearing a brown jacket with red striping similar to the photo you're seeing right here. Witnesses report seeing the man running in the area of Bergham Road and County Highway JG around the date of January 15th. He is not considered a suspect right now, but investigators want to speak with him or anyone else who frequently runs in the area. Detectives are also interested to hear from people who could have been working around there. This includes delivery drivers, utility workers, and construction workers.
6:06 your time now. An elementary school student won't be in class today after bringing a loaded gun to school with him. It happened Tuesday at Todd Elementary in Beloit. A teacher found the weapon in the student's backpack and confiscated it quickly. The student's stepfather, 36-year-old Brian Walker, is now facing charges for leaving a loaded handgun in a place where a child could take it. The Beloit School District says that student is suspended indefinitely.
Monona police officers are dealing with their third stolen car recovery in less than a week. Police made multiple arrests after they saw suspects driving recklessly near Southtown Drive in the Beltline earlier this week. As two officers tried to make contact with the car, police say the driver rammed into the squad cars and tried driving away. Police say 18-year-old Jamie Ordenez was a passenger in the car. She's facing charges for theft and possessing a loaded weapon. Police were able to set up a perimeter and track down the other two involved, 18-year-old Jeremiah Muhammad and 20-year-old James McGowan, who was driving. McGowan was bitten by a canine after trying to run across the ice on Lake Monona.
6:07 on your Wednesday. Still ahead this morning as international concern for the coronavirus grows. Health experts here in Wisconsin say there's another more immediate threat to your family's health. We'll explain coming up.
And it's staying mostly cloudy and calm for the rest of the work week, but we're tracking the next storm system headed this way. Patty's extended forecast when News 3 Now this morning returns in a moment.
Good morning from the patio this morning. We have clouds in the forecast once again. The cloudy skies just can't seem to leave us alone, and we've had quite a stretch so far of cloudy weather. Looking back at the hourly observations here in Madison, the last time we had partly sunny skies was at noon last Tuesday, over a week ago. And then skies turned completely cloudy at 6 a.m. last Wednesday morning, and we've had cloudy observations ever since. So a solid week of clouds here in southern Wisconsin. We do have some sunshine in the forecast, though, but it's not until Sunday, so you need to be patient. A few more days. How ironic, though, that our first chance for sun in almost 2 weeks comes on Groundhog Day. Now, if you're confused, here's the deal. Jimmy the Groundhog in Sun Prairie, if he comes out on Sunday morning and sees his shadow, that means 6 more weeks of winter. If he doesn't see a shadow, it means an early spring. We do expect partly sunny skies on Sunday, so seeing the shadow looking pretty likely for Jimmy. Here's a look at our forecast, though. We have to deal with clouds first. Weather Track is showing you that there is some snow on the map, but note the trend in that snow. It is diminishing across Minnesota, and I expect that trend to continue. The storm system producing that snow is well to our south in Arkansas this morning, so I would expect the precipitation to hold a little closer to that system and move around us here in Wisconsin. It looks like there are some holes in the cloud cover across the Badger State, but take a look at this view. The sky camera shot is showing you that skies are completely cloudy. The infrared satellite having a tough time discerning the difference between low clouds and also snow on the ground this morning. They're very similar in temperature. So we do have cloudy skies. Earlier we had some fog in the Dells, but it looks like that situation has improved. Visibility is pretty good across southern Wisconsin. Temperatures are generally in the 20s. There's always an exception, though, and in the Dells and Camp Douglas, it's at 18 this morning. Winds are calm early today. You don't have to worry about a wind chill at all today. Future track forecast showing you that we're just stuck with cloudy skies. Temperatures will climb into the mid-20s by lunchtime. We'll top right around 28 later today. Some lake effect snow showers expected closer to the lakeshore, but here in south central Wisconsin, just a few flurries. Now the weather pattern stays pretty quiet as we go through the next couple of days, just on and off chances for flurries or very light snow showers. The next major system to impact the area comes the first part of next week. Take a look at that, though. We do have 40s in the forecast Sunday and Monday. High temperatures will hit in the low 40s. Let's get a look at your traffic conditions now. We'll send it over to Stacey K for all the details. Good morning, Stacey.
Good morning. No problems on the Beltline so far this morning. Nothing to slow you down just yet in either direction. Checking out other roads here in Dane County, just the usual slowdowns at Stoughton Road and Park Street approaching the Beltline. Volume is not an issue yet on East Washington and downtown. And other main routes heading into Madison, cruising along at the posted speeds. No crashes or delays. With your First Alert Traffic, I'm Stacey K.
Thank you, Stacey, and thank you, Hattie. 6:14 now. Some promising news this morning. Opioid overdoses and deaths are falling in Madison. That's according to a blog by Interim Police Chief Vic Wall. Officers responded to 246 heroin and opioid overdoses in 2019. That's down from 275 the year prior. But these numbers only include known overdoses. Chief Wall says the actual number in the community is likely much higher. When it comes to deaths, Chief Wall says there were 29 fatal overdoses last year. That's down from 42 in 2018.
Breaking this morning, 3 major airlines are suspending all flights to China. British Airways, Lion Air, and Seoul Air are announcing this change in concerns of the spreading coronavirus. This comes as 240 Americans are back in the U.S. this morning after a chartered plane picked them up in a coronavirus outbreak zone in China. A U.S. State Department official says the plane was sent to Wuhan, the epicenter of the new virus that has made thousands of people sick and has killed 130 so far. The plane stopped in Anchorage, Alaska this morning, where travelers were screened for the virus, and is now on the way to California. So far, 5 cases have been confirmed in the U.S.
A Wisconsin family is stuck overseas because of quarantines in China. Sam Roth lives in Neenah in the Fox Valley. His wife and kids were visiting relatives in Wuhan, but travel is banned there because of the coronavirus outbreak. Around 1,000 Americans are reportedly still in that city. Roth says he wants his family to be airlifted out.
Yeah, I'm quite concerned, especially the 10-month-old. I mean, any baby of that age doesn't have a fully formed immune system. And so if she were to get the pneumonia, that we're familiar with, that would be a grave concern for us. And here is a pneumonia-like virus that is unknown to man up till now, and how to treat it.
Video from Wuhan shows the residents there confined to their apartments singing together from their high-rises. Others in the video can be heard shouting "Wuhan strong" from their balconies and windows.
Despite all of the hype around coronavirus, right now there's a more immediate threat to your family's health here in Wisconsin.
We're talking about the flu and a recent spike in local cases. Keely Arthur joins us live at Public Health Madison and Dane County with the latest. Hi, Keely.
Good morning, Josh and Leah. Well, the coronavirus and flu do have some similar symptoms, but the similarities really stop there. If you were to look at the odds of you or a family member getting the coronavirus versus the flu, the odds are you will get the flu. Now, the Center for Disease and Control say there have been 15 million cases of the flu so far this flu season. And according to the latest data, Wisconsin is considered one of 34 states with a high number of influenza-like illnesses. In just the last week, the number of coronavirus cases in the state, 0. Still, though, Public Health Madison and Dane County officials say they are preparing for the possibility of coronavirus locally.
So we're working with our healthcare partners and other health departments around us to make sure that we're monitoring for any potential cases of coronavirus. And then if there were to be a risk or something that we're concerned about, to make sure we're responding to that.
The biggest risk of you getting the coronavirus is international travel. If you want to protect yourself from the flu, however, there are some more tangible things you can do. Get the vaccine. The flu season lasts until March, so you have plenty of time to do that. And then use good hand hygiene, so washing your hands for at least 20 seconds. And finally, if a member is sick with the flu, be sure to keep them in a separate room, like a bedroom, from healthy members of the family. That might seem a little cruel, but the flu is spread through things like coughing and sneezing, so you really want to keep everybody separate. And from a public health standpoint, officials here say they are just working to get people vaccinated. They are still offering the vaccine, and they are just trying to educate people. Josh and Leah.
Keely Arthur, thank you very much.
Now, the flu is the reason some students get to sleep in a little later this morning for the second day in a row. Custodians at Watertown Catholic schools are sanitizing the buildings because so many kids have called out sick with the flu, 30 to be exact. Kevin Lorian has been a custodian at the high school for the past 15 years and says the work he's doing in these 2 days would usually take him an entire summer to do.
We have a lot of sick kids, so they're now gone for the next 2 days, so we just want to make sure we have a good, clean environment for them to come back in.
In all, Lorian is cleaning 16 classrooms, 10 bathrooms, and all lockers and handrails with Lysol and bleach water. We're told no additional days of school would be added to the end of the school year to make up for these 2 days.
I'll go get the hand sanitizer during this next break.
It's been going around here too.
Oh boy, it has been. We have several people out of the newsroom.
Everywhere I'm going, I'm like sanitizing, washing my hands, because I'm just like a germaphobe already. I can't do it.
Stay healthy,
yes.
folks. 6:19 now, still ahead for us. We will tell you why heavy snow and temperature swings could cause some long-lasting problems for western Wisconsin.
And no major temperature swings in the forecast here this morning as Hattie's tracking another cloudy morning at the bus stop. You're watching News 3 Now this morning. We thank you for that, and we'll be right back.
6:22 your time now. If you're looking for a silver lining to mid-January, at least the sun's coming up early, we can check out the polar bear.
Yeah, I don't know if it's buried underneath, but right there.
There it goes.
Yes, yeah, out and about early this morning. I don't know if anyone's happier about the earlier light than us three, right?
Right.
It's been a while since we've had the polar bear cam.
It's been so dark.
Yes.
And just think, it would be even lighter if we had clear skies right now. But unfortunately, we're stuck with the clouds. Take a look at temperatures. At least it's not too chilly outside. 23 here in Madison. In the Dells, that's the coldest spot. 18 degrees this morning. 27 in Janesville and 24 in Monroe. No wind to really talk about today, so you don't have to worry about a wind chill for the kiddos as you send them off to school. It's still just a little chilly outside. Temperatures will stay in the 20s today. You'll definitely want to pack the snow gear, but not all the layers. You probably don't need all of them. It's not too cold with high temperatures in the upper 20s this afternoon. Have a wonderful Wednesday.
All right, thank you very much, Hattie. Aftershocks are expected to continue this week after a 7.7 magnitude earthquake in the Caribbean Sea. The earthquake happened about 80 miles off the coast of Jamaica, between that country and Cuba. Hundreds of people were evacuated from high-rise buildings near downtown Miami as several buildings in that city shook. Residents of the Grand Cayman Islands also felt swaying as the quake hit. There haven't been reports of major damage or any deaths anywhere yet.
Around the state this morning, recent swings in the temperatures here in Wisconsin might mean an increased risk for flooding in the western part of the Badger State. Wisconsin Public Radio is reporting on ice jams forming on the Mississippi. Those could cause flooding for cities along the west side of the state from Trempealeau to Grant counties. This comes as a historic amount of water flows down the river. WPR reports a record 24 trillion gallons of water flowed through the Mississippi just last year. Right now, Governor Evers is requesting FEMA to do a damage assessment around the state in areas like Milwaukee, Racine, and Kenosha counties after a severe winter storm hit the lakeshore earlier this month. This would be the first step in figuring out whether the state would request a federal disaster declaration.
Authorities in the U.S. and the Dominican Republic are investigating claims that a Wisconsin woman was held captive for months. Brown County 911 dispatchers got a call over the weekend from a woman who said she was in the Dominican and needed help. She says she met a man online and flew to meet him, but ended up being held against her will. She was able to escape and make an international call to Brown County.
She said that she was in the Dominican Republic and that she was being held against her will. I cried. We have a Green Bay citizen that's safe. Last night we got a win.
Green Bay police were able to reach the U.S. Embassy, and eventually this woman was located. She should be returning to the U.S. soon.
Investigators with the National Transportation Safety Board say they will release a preliminary report on the helicopter crash that killed Kobe Bryant, his daughter, and 7 others by next Friday.
It's not going to contain our findings, our analysis. It's not going to contain any safety recommendations or a probable cause.
A final report, including the cause of the crash, could take more than a year to produce. What investigators do know this morning is that the helicopter went down fast, falling at more than 2,000 feet per minute. The NTSB is done with their recovery operations at the scene of the crash and will examine the wreckage to try and learn more. 6:26 right now. More Americans than ever before are going to bet on the Super Bowl this Sunday. The American Gaming Association estimates a record 26 million Americans will make a gamble on Super Bowl 54, a 15% increase from last year. The AGA expects nearly 3 million more adults will wager this year, adding up to an estimated $6.8 million on the matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers.
Will you be watching?
As much as I can. What time is the game this year? Is it early enough where I don't have to be in bed?
It is. It
Okay.
is. And you have to check out the puppy.
The puppy in
on the commercial.
the Wisconsin puppy that will be in the, I think it's second quarter, they said?
Yeah, that's the only reason I would watch. If the Packers aren't involved, no.
Kickoff is at 5. There we go. Jake helping us out, our producer.
All right.
All right, still ahead for us this morning. Though the spotlight is on coronavirus, health officials here in Wisconsin say there's a different virus that deserves your attention.
And today's an important deadline for voters ahead of the spring primaries. We're making sure you're prepared for the ballot. That's coming up on News 3 Now this morning.
From the Channel3000.com.
Good morning, folks, and thanks for staying with us on this Wednesday, January 29th. I'm Leah Lynchide.
And I'm Josh Breiter. If you're dreaming of the sunshine, just keep dreaming.
In a few days, it will return. Yeah, not a lot of doom in this forecast, but certainly a lot of gloom. We have cloudy skies again this morning across southern Wisconsin. The WISC-TV sky camera shot behind me, just cloudy early today. We're not dealing with any freezing drizzle or flurries right now, though, so I guess that's the good news. 23 here in Madison, 27 in Janesville, 24 in Platteville. The cool spot this morning is 18 in the Dells, and even for January standards, that's not very cold. As you head out the door this morning, temperatures will stay in the 20s. We're staying below freezing today, 28 for the high this afternoon. A few flurries are possible for the second part of the day. Here's a look at your traffic report now. No major issues right now. Still just getting a little busier at the Beltline and Stoughton Road. Some brake lights showing up there, but no major issues to report in or around Dane County. Coming up in about 15 minutes or so, we do have good news. Sunshine is back in the forecast. I know, I should get a standing ovation for that, right?
It's about time. Hiding it over there. Thank you, Hattie. 6:31 right now. We are reminding you this morning of a very important deadline ahead of the spring primary.
Our Christina Lurie is here to talk about how to make sure you're registered to vote. Hi, Christina.
Hi, Josh and Leah. So if you want to avoid those election day crowds, and who doesn't, today is the last day to register to vote online or by mail ahead of the statewide spring primary. It is not the last day, however, to register online or by mail for this April's presidential primary. If you've moved, even if it's just to a new unit in your same apartment building, you'll need to update your voter registration. However, you can register to vote at all absentee voting sites through the Friday before Election Day and at the polls themselves on Election Day. You'll need proof of address when registering, regardless of when that is, and that is allowed to be electronic as long as your name and address on the document match the address on your voter registration form. Some examples include a utility bill from the past 90 days, a bank statement, a current and valid Wisconsin ID or license, or a paycheck. For a full list of acceptable documents, visit myvote.wi.gov. We also have a link on our website, channel3000.com. Wisconsin's statewide primary election is February 18th. Our presidential primary now isn't until April 7th, so you still have until March 18th, a full another month to register by mail or online for that. But I already can't believe it's 2020 and we're voting.
My goodness, the clock is ticking. November will be here before we know it.
I know so many times I've started writing 201 and then that awkward
every day.
You're not alone. All right, Christina, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
6:33 now. The Pentagon says 50 U.S. military members are recovering from concussions or traumatic brain injuries after an Iranian missile attack earlier this month. 31 service members were treated in Iraq, where the attack happened, and have since returned to duty. Another 18 had to be transferred to Germany for more treatment. The Pentagon had previously reported only 34 service members had been diagnosed.
Right now, the U.S. military is still investigating the deadly plane crash in Afghanistan that killed 2 U.S. crewmen on Monday. 2 bodies were recovered from the wreckage of the plane, which was used for electronic surveillance. The cause of the crash still isn't known this morning, but the Taliban is claiming responsibility, saying they shot that plane down while it was flying over territory controlled by the terrorist organization. The Pentagon is denying these claims.
6:34 now. Coronavirus seems top of mind for many of us in terms of health concerns.
But local health officials want to remind you that the biggest threat here is still the flu. Keely Arthur joins us live from Public Health Madison and Dane County with the very latest. Hi, Keely.
Hi, Josh and Leah. Yes, according to the Center for Disease and Control, the number of flu cases is already at 15 million so far this flu season. And according to the latest data, Wisconsin is one of 34 states with a, quote, high number of cases in just the last week. The number of coronavirus cases here in this state, 0, so that helps put things in perspective. Now, similar to the rest of the country, the number of flu cases is widespread here in Dane County. Officials say it's hard to say why some flu seasons are worse than others, but it often comes down to how effective the vaccine is. The good news is the number of people immunized is the same here in Dane County and statewide as it is in previous years. The bad news is influenza is here and certainly the biggest concern for public health officials locally.
When we're talking about what we're most at risk for, or what your kids might be most at risk for, it's definitely influenza. So we haven't seen any cases of the coronavirus here in Wisconsin or in Dane County, but we're seeing lots of flu. So that's what I would say we should be worrying about the most and be working to protect ourselves against.
As an individual, here is what you can do to protect yourself. Get the vaccine. The flu season lasts until March, so you have plenty of time. Use good hand hygiene, so washing your hands for at least 20 seconds. And finally, if a family member is sick with the flu, be sure to keep them in a separate room, like a bedroom, from healthy members of the family until it's over. It sounds cruel, but that can help kind of save everyone else. And from a public health standpoint, officials here are helping administer the vaccine. They are still making that available to everyone, still trying to continue to educate people. Risks for the coronavirus, that would be international travel, especially if you've traveled near Wuhan, China. Josh and Leah.
All right, Keely Arthur live in Madison this morning. Keely, thank you.
Still ahead this morning, coming up in the morning sprint, we're taking a look at what's next in the Senate impeachment trial now that opening arguments have wrapped up.
But first, we're telling you about a major data breach and how you can keep your family's information safe. This is News 3 Now this morning. A new report is warning about a significant increase in data breaches affecting tens of millions of people this morning.
The Identity Theft Resource Center counted nearly 1,500 breaches of private and government organizations in 2019. Hackers were able to buy logins and passwords from the dark web. Companies like Intuit, Boost Mobile, Dunkin', and Disney Plus were subject to those types of attacks. The Wisconsin Better Business Bureau is reminding us to always make long passwords, set strong online privacy standards, and always use two-factor authentication. A new survey shows most Disney Plus subscribers are happy with the new streaming service.
With the launch of Disney Plus last November, many of its original TV shows have been a hit with audiences. The survey by highspeedinternet.com shows 98% of Disney Plus users are happy with the service. Researchers found the most popular show so far to be the Star Wars spin-off, The Mandalorian.
And that is what we are asking you to sound off about this morning. We're curious to see how many of you have Disney Plus.
Right now, 56% of you say yes, while the other 44% say no. I'm kind of surprised by that.
So am I. It's $7 a month. It's not too bad. It's comparable to Netflix, and it has a ton of content for families.
Yeah, that's true. I guess there are just so many options available for streaming services. Everyone just has to pick which one's the best for them.
Depends on who you talk to, though. Maybe that's not in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, that's true. Head over to Facebook and let us know where you stand.
All right, while you're on Facebook, you can also send us a photo of your morning like Gwen did. She posted this stunning picture, the magic on the Drumlin Trail.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that stunning?
Is that like some snowmobile tracks, maybe some cross-country skiing tracks?
I don't know what it is, but I want to take a walk down that trail for sure.
Looks magical. All right, thank you so much for sharing, Gwen. If you've got a photo of your morning you'd like to share with us, please do so over on our Facebook page.
6:41 your time now. We are waking up with more clouds out there on this Wednesday and more of the same for the rest of the work week. But Hattie is tracking our next chance of sun along with some chances for rain and snow. That's coming up.
But first, it is Wednesday, January 29th, and if you need some sunshine, just take a look at Amelia. She's bringing it for us this morning. Happy birthday, Amelia, and all the other kids turning 3 today. Thanks for celebrating with us on News 3 Now this morning.
Little cutie.
Look who's
Good morning from the News 3 Now First Alert Weather Center. We have cloudy skies and quiet conditions here in Madison. Here's the sky camera shot. Not able to see a whole lot this morning with those clouds in place. Had some reports of some light snow in and around the Dells, though. Not picking up too much on the radar map. You'll see a few blips around Portage. That light snow is actually likely due to the power plant in Portage. Winds are from the east-southeast, and that plant is generating just enough moisture and steam to produce some light snow. So don't be surprised if you see a few snowflakes up there. For the remainder of the area, though, pretty quiet. 23 here in Madison, 18 in the Dells, 25 in Mineral Point. Your Metro Futurecast today has temperatures topping at 28 degrees this afternoon. Winds are going to stay very light from the northeast. A few flurries will be possible, but no accumulation is expected. Things have been pretty quiet around here. We have a large area of high pressure dominating the weather. That really is forcing all that precipitation around Wisconsin. This snow in Iowa, actually due to that area of low pressure down in Arkansas this morning. So that snow will continue to sink through the south and spread to the south and east through the day today. Our forecast looks pretty quiet, but definitely cloudy over the next couple of days. If you are thinking, I'd like to see some sunshine, well, no flight delays across the country right now. So if you want to get out of town, looking pretty good. Here's a look at some spots that may be a little warmer and sunnier. Miami, 81 with sunshine today. In LA, you're looking at 67. A little breezy, but you'll have some sun there. Montreal, not quite as warm, but sunny skies there with a high of 22 degrees. The jet stream pattern has been focused along the southern tier of the United States, and that will eventually change as we go through the weekend. So we have quiet conditions through the rest of this week. Heading into the weekend and the start of next week, you see those arrows pointing towards Wisconsin. That'll bring the storm track back into our part of the country and more active weather pattern as well. So we do have some precipitation in that extended forecast. Not a lot for the rest of this week, just a few flurries possible here and there. Temperatures will generally stay on the cool side. We're looking at highs in the low 30s Thursday and Friday. We do warm things up for the upcoming weekend. Saturday still cloudy, but a high of 37. And on Sunday, Groundhog Day, that's our first chance for some sunshine. So it looks like Jimmy is likely to see his shadow there. 46 around on Monday, but into next week, it does get a little more active with some rain moving in on Monday, changing to snow with colder temperatures starting on Tuesday. Here's our Pet Walk forecast. Sasha, Stormy, and Specs. Oh, I didn't notice the bird. Oh. Look at the parrot.
Oh my gosh.
Very cool. They're all posed so nicely in Wanakee.
The three best friends.
What a family portrait.
That's quite the pet walk.
Yes, it is. Thank you, Addie.
You're welcome.
Stay with us. The morning sprint is up next.
It's 6:50, time for the morning sprint to get your day started with everything you need to know.
We start in Washington this morning where the president's impeachment trial enters a new phase today. Senators are set to begin a 2-day question and answer period of the impeachment trial before taking any vote on additional witnesses. Senators will use cards to write their questions for House managers or the defense and submit them to Chief Justice John Roberts. The trial might not be headed for the quick acquittal the White House was hoping for, as a Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says he doesn't have the votes to block more witnesses yet.
Today is the last day to register to vote online or by mail ahead of Wisconsin's statewide spring primary election on February 18th. If you've moved, even if it's just to a new unit in your same apartment building, you'll need to update your voter registration. Head to our website for the documents you need to register today. Wisconsin is one of 21 states where you can register in person on Election Day itself. You can also still register by mail or online for this spring's presidential primary, which isn't until April.
Christina, thank you. The Pentagon now says 50 U.S. military members are recovering from concussions or traumatic brain injuries after an Iranian missile attack on the U.S. forces earlier this month. 31 service members were treated in Iraq where that attack happened. Another 18 were transferred to Germany for more treatment and evaluation. The Pentagon previously reported that only 34 personnel members had been diagnosed.
The U.S. military is investigating the deadly plane crash in Afghanistan that killed 2 U.S. crewmen on Monday. 2 bodies were recovered from the wreckage of the plane, which was used for electronic surveillance. The cause of the crash still isn't known. The Taliban is claiming responsibility, but the Pentagon is denying those claims.
Investigators with the National Transportation Safety Board say they will release a preliminary report on the helicopter crash that killed Kobe Bryant, his daughter, and 7 others by next Friday. The final report, including the cause of the crash, could take more than a year to produce. The NTSB is done with their recovery operations at the scene of the crash, examining the wreckage to try and learn more.
3 airlines are suspending all flights to China this morning. British Airways, Lion Air, and Seoul Air are announcing the change in concerns of the spreading coronavirus. This comes as 240 Americans are back in the U.S. this morning after a chartered plane picked them up in a coronavirus outbreak zone in China. That plane is in Anchorage, Alaska, where the travelers are being screened for the virus as we speak.
Well, the coronavirus is certainly the talker, but local health officials want you to refocus on concern over the flu. The Center for Disease Control says we have seen already 15 million cases of the flu so far this flu season, and Wisconsin is one of 34 states with a, quote, high number of flu cases. In just the last week, the number of coronavirus cases, 0. Still, though, Public Health Madison and Dane County say they are preparing for the possibility of coronavirus locally. However, you are far more likely to get the flu. In order to prevent that, wash your hands and get the vaccine. Hattie?
Thanks, Keely. We're dealing with cloudy skies this morning. Here's the live view from Platteville, thanks to our Queen Bee Radio sky camera. Cloudy skies there. Temperatures are starting in the low 20s today. We'll top in the upper 20s this afternoon, right around 28. Notice that winds will stay light throughout the day.
Thank you, Hattie. Recent swings in the temperature here in Wisconsin might mean an increased risk for flooding. Wisconsin Public Radio is reporting on ice jams forming on the Mississippi that could cause flooding for cities along the west side of the state. WPR reports a record 24 trillion gallons of water flowed through the Mississippi last year.
Governor Evers is requesting FEMA to do a damage assessment around the state in areas like Milwaukee, Racine, and Kenosha counties. This comes after a severe winter storm hit the lakeshore earlier this month. This would be the first step in figuring out whether the state would require a federal disaster declaration.
Aftershocks are expected to continue this week after a 7.7 magnitude earthquake in the Caribbean Sea. The quake happened about 80 miles off the coast of Jamaica between that country and Cuba. Hundreds of people had to be evacuated from high-rise buildings in Miami as several buildings in that city shook. There haven't been any reports of major damage or deaths yet.
Authorities in the U.S. and the Dominican Republic are investigating claims that a Wisconsin woman was held captive for months. Brown County Dispatch got a call over the weekend from a woman saying she was being held in the Dominican against her will. The woman says she was there to meet a man she met online. Green Bay police were able to reach the U.S. Embassy, and eventually she was located and will be returning home soon.
Back in Madison, police have a woman in custody this morning accused of a number of robberies, the latest at a Quick Trip in town. It happened around 1 this morning at the Quick Trip along Stoughton Road, across from MATC. Police say 55-year-old Yolanda Bell stole some cigarettes, then led officers on a police chase, ending only after she crashed her car and then tried to run away. She's facing multiple charges this morning.
Dane County detectives are continuing to ask for your help in the murder investigation of Nicholas Day. They're trying to identify a runner who was seen in the area around the time of his death. They say the runner was wearing a brown jacket with red striping similar to this photo. He's not considered a suspect right now, but investigators want to speak with him or anyone else who frequently runs in the area.
A student from Todd Elementary School in Beloit won't be in class today after bringing a loaded gun to school. A teacher found the weapon in the student's backpack and confiscated it. The student's stepfather, 36-year-old Brian Walker, is now facing charges for leaving a loaded handgun in a place where a child could take it. The Beloit School District says that student is suspended indefinitely.
It is 6:56. Stacey K is here with a final look at your first alert traffic. Good morning, Stacey.
Good morning. There is a disabled vehicle on the westbound side of the Beltline at Seminole Highway. The right shoulder is blocked, and that might cause a delay. The westbound side of the Beltline is getting busy now, especially between Stoughton Road and Monona Drive. Inbound John Nolan getting busier now at the Rimrock and North Shore Drive intersections. And other main routes heading into Madison, they're cruising along. No crashes or delays. With your first alert traffic, I'm Stacey K.
Thank you, Stacy. Here's a live look from the Edgewater sky camera this morning. It is cloudy here in Madison and a little cooler. Temperatures are starting in the low to mid 20s in many spots. Unfortunately, we're not going to get rid of the clouds today. They'll stick around all day with high temperatures staying below the freezing point at 28 degrees. If you are looking for sunshine and warmer temperatures, well, I have both in the extended forecast, just not today or tomorrow. We do get back into the 40s on Sunday with some sunshine finally for the area. Watch for another storm system, though, to potentially impact the area Monday into Tuesday of next week. May need to get those shovels ready again.
I am already looking forward to that sunshine, though. I feel like we all need something to look forward to. So, Hattie, thank you.
You're welcome.
And thanks for joining us this morning, folks. Have a great Wednesday. Take some time for your family today. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.
Bring your